now we come to the two big stories of the month, which have all happened within the last 3 freaking days. Of course, we have the Gillick competence coming under attack in the High Courts. There's a case currently going through in which a parent of a 15-year-old autistic trans person, I have seen reports that they are a trans man, but I have not seen any of the papers. This has just been Twitter chat between trans activists, so take this with a grain of salt. Another claimant is also a detransitioner who believes that they were misled on puberty blockers, etc., and is like suing to argue that there's no way young people can consent to puberty blockers or any other form of medication. To do this, they are having to go after Gillick competence. Now, if you don't know what Gillick competence is a legal standard. It was started after a bigot by, I can't remember if it was Victoria Gillick or Elizabeth Gillick, I think it was Victoria Gillick, attempted to sue some medical practitioners because they were giving contraception to minors under 16-year-olds, and their argument was that by giving minors contraception, you are inadvertently pushing them towards sexual intercourse. Now, this just isn't true. If you look at the statistic rates on sex education and everything, having sex education actually increases the average age at which a person has sexual intercourse, and it decreases the amount of sex underage people are actually having. So pretty much it came down to the fact that the doctor has the ability to assess the minor's ability to make decisions for themselves and to make a call in regards to their medical health, in this case reproductive health. The Gillick competence has of course been applied to other things such as abortion, and it's generally a standard to gauge how under 16-year-olds can make medical decisions for themselves, even if their parents disagree. Parents do not have parental rights. This was what the original Gillick case dictated. It went to court, got rejected. She did an appeal, got accepted. It went before the House of Lords, and the House of Lords discussed, okay, is there such a thing as parental rights? No, there isn't. Parental rights only exist as a synonym for parental responsibilities. Parents do not have the right to dictate their child's well-being. So yes, this is currently what's under attack. The hearing ended on the 8th, but I haven't seen anything come out. It might have come out today, I just haven't seen it. There was nothing out yesterday night when I checked. We are currently waiting for the hearing. We heard all the same sort of arguments made before. The idea that, minors are too immature to understand these things, puberty blockers have irreversible harmful effects, puberty blockers prevent normal brain functioning and development, so they can't make a decision. So we'll have to see how the courts deal with it. We already know the British Medical Association did not find there to be any suitable basis there, so it'll be interesting to see if that came up in the court discussion. And if that's going to be reflected on. But the courts are not they're not a scientific institution, so we don't know how much they're going to adhere to the evidence versus the fear-mongering. So everyone's a little on the edge now, most notably the fact that if they undermine Gillick competence for trans people, they're going to come after, contraception, they're going to come after abortion. And you might say that that's a little ridiculous, One of the lawyers presenting the case, specifically presenting Bell, who is the adult who detransitioned, is Paul Conrath. If you don't know who Paul Conrath is, you are lucky. Paul Conrath is a devout Christian who makes a name for himself taking up all the absurd Christian lawsuits. Um, excuse me. As I noted on Twitter, some of the biggest things that he's known for include the argument that no woman of any age can ever consent to an abortion because of abortion regret, using the exact same argument as trans regret in this case. So thankfully he's failed in those areas. Hopefully he'll fail in this one. He also argued against equalizing the age of consent between same-gender couples in 2001. And it is, I'll just have a look. He also, of course, did the whole thing around Jeremy Springer, the show, what's it called? The Opera, that's it, yes, Jeremy Springer, The Opera. He also made a big fuss about that and the BBC showing that. But yes, he is someone who typically fights abortion access, so him attacking the Gillick competence is simply an extension of what he already does. If it is undermined for trans people, they are coming for contraception and abortion access next. That's why it's all the same circles. The Heritage Foundation, Liz Truss is working with. The Alliance Defending Freedom in America is another big funder. So yes, and as JMM rightly notes, is the fact that here they want to ban any medical procedure for under 25s. This is even though we are medically adults age 16. JMM says 18. In the UK, the medical age of consent is 16, not 18. They want to raise that for trans people to 25 to ensure that they have to go through the fullest extent of their natal puberty before they can ever receive healthcare. Reminder that these are the same people who will then target and abuse trans people. So, there's really no way of winning this. I don't know if you have any notes that you'd like to add, Levi?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
I should note the fact that one thing that kind of worries people about the core is the fact that anti-trans groups such as Transgender Trend have been invited to speak. If you don't know Transgender Trend, they are the source of the transgender sort of narrative as it's become. They're the ones that argue we are transing children. It's just a recycle of the old, gay teachers make gay students sort of thing. Like they put out fake school pamphlets about how to handle trans children in schools, and it is filled with bigoted trash. That has been noted. It's a danger to schools. They've been invited to speak before the court. Stonewall, the largest queer charity in the UK, and Mermaids, the largest service for trans children in the UK that does not offer any medical support but offers information about socially transitioning, that sort of stuff. They have been refused the ability to speak at the hearing. Now, the court claims it's because they've already got the information that they want from both Stonewall and Mermaids. But here's the thing, it denies them the opportunity to react to what groups like Transgender Trend have argued. So it's a bit funny for them to allow a hate organisation to speak, but not these queer charities.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. Like, why don't they already have the information from this hate organization? It's very convenient that, they can just get the information from the advocacy organizations beforehand, but the hate organization needs to be there to spew their hate.
Yeah. However, on a positive note, Barnando's, the NSPCC, the National Children's Bureau, and the Children's Society have all spoken out in support of trans children, their access to healthcare, and the Gillick competence. So these are all the largest children organisations in the UK, have publicly given their support to Mermaids, Stonewall, and all of these groups. So it isn't all total despair. But yes, we are currently waiting on the verdicts for that, because there is currently no time frame offered from what I've last read. Okay.
So before we move on to our last point, just one thing. I want to point out explicitly what you meant before when you said that, you know, these people want trans people to go through the fullest extent of their natal puberty, and are also the same people who will target trans people. If you didn't catch the connection there, what they're trying to do is make trans people more visible.
Yeah. That way it makes it easier to assault, it makes us easier to exclude from social spaces, which is going to have disastrous effects, not just for trans people. And I know I shouldn't have to say this, but it seems like the only way to sometimes get through to people is point out how it's going to impact them. Any cis woman who is not within the narrow confines of what patriarchy has deemed femininity, they are also going to be targeted as a result of this. That's happened every time there's a bathroom push in America. We get a slew of news articles of, not feminine appearing women coming forward and saying, hey, I'm just, a butch lesbian, or I'm just a cis woman with short hair, and I got attacked with transphobic abuse. I got assaulted by a mall cop, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The other reason to point that out was also, we shouldn't have to say this to get people to care about trans rights, but we do have to say it for the sake of the rights of cis women.
Yeah, it's point. It's also going to be specifically cis women of colour, because many of the attributes of cis women of colour are also socially constructed to be more masculine, and it's, there's a whole racist element that intersects there, and there's a reason when a white woman gets angry, they're just having a bad day, they just need to eat something. But a black woman gets angry, are you sure? Are you sure? Can I see their hands? It's always the hands. So yes. Anyway,